Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Ubaid Samad and you are watching Ice Tags. In the previous video, we discussed about the components, how to create functional components. But in this video, we'll discuss a second type, that is class components. We'll discuss how to create and utilize class components inside your React.js application. I will also discuss the difference between the class components and the functional components and also discuss what should you use, either class component or functional components. Without wasting the time, let's jump into the video and learn about the class components. React uses ES6 classes to create class component. They extend from a React.component class. And they are made up of different functions to add the functionality to the application. They also have the access to the lifecycle methods like component will mount, component did mount, etc. And there is a function called render that must be added inside the class to render the JSX or HTML code to your application. I'll jump to the code editor and create a class component there. I'll go inside the src folder and create a content.js file inside the components folder. And then I will import React component from React. Then we will create a class component called content. The class name will be content and it extends the component. And then we create a method called render to return the JSX code from that one. I'll just return h1 content and I will export that component, export default content. Now let's add that component to our app.js file. I'll import that content component inside the app.js file and then I'll go to the terminal and type npm start command to start the project. Now let's have a look at the browser. We can see that the content from the content component is being rendered. Let's now talk about the difference between the class components and the functional components. Class components, they are extended from the React.component class, while functional component, they are not extended from any React.component class. Class components are also known as stateful components, while functional component, they are known as stateless components. Once class component is instantiated and different lifecycle methods is kept alive and being run invoked depending upon the phase of class component. For example, component did mount, component will mount. Depending upon the phase of the component, different methods are invoked to keep the component alive. While in functional component, they run from top to bottom, and once the function is returned, it can't be kept alive. Class components have the access to the lifecycle methods like component did mount, component will mount, etc. But functional component, they don't have the access to the lifecycle methods. And one more thing, functional component, they can be made stateful with the help of React hooks. React provides us the hooks to make our functional component stateful. Inside the class component, we define the states differently. We have a constructor, and inside the constructor, we define the states. While in the functional component, we have the React hooks called useState, and we can define the state with the help of that useState hook. Now let's talk about what components to use and when to use. Class components, they should be preferred when we have the requirement with the state of the component. And if you're a beginner, it's very important that you learn both functional component and class components to get an idea of how the components work in React.js. There is a good news that in React version greater than 16.8, React has facilitated its developers with the hooks functionality. We can perform the side effects in React.js using the useEffect method, and we no longer need to use the class components. So it's okay if you want to use functions, and it has benefits in itself. Class components and functional components, there's a difference between how state is manipulated and how life cycles work. But still, if you want to use functional or class components, it's up to you. I hope now you guys have an idea of class components and functional component, and you know what to use and when to use. Uh, if you have any question, you can let me know in the comment section, or you can also join my Discord community for discussion. And I'll see you guys in the next video with another topic. Till that, take care. Allah Hafiz.